so normally the tool I have, I'd be doing this in the car, but being it's an L99 automatic car, got to pull the heads off to put lifters in it anyway, so it's easier to just do it on the bench instead of fight it in the car. Normally, you have a little thing you put in your spark plug hole, put air pressure on it, like 60 pounds of pressure, just to hold the valves up while you're taking the keepers out. But we're doing it on the table because it's a lot easier and I got the heads off, so I just take a shop rag, lay it under the valves to hold them up. Take the nifty little spring compressor, bolt it in, run it down, be sure not to lose your retainers. That's what's going to hold the new valve springs in. It'll be 4, 2 on each valve. Now you've got that down, your retainer's out, you can let the pressure back off. I like to stop the nut right at the top because when you put the new springs on, they're going to be higher. It's a lot easier if you just take this guy out of the way. Take your old springs out, single. They're good for like 580 lift. We're putting big boy cams in, so we got dual springs, rated for 660. You want to get your old valve seals out. I got a pair of 90-degree angle pliers, just makes life easier. Don't squeeze them too hard because you're squeezing the rubber against the head. It makes it harder to pull up. Just grip it enough to twist it, pull it up. Don't take much. You got all that out, clean it up a little bit. Use a lint-free rag so you don't get pieces of rag in your head or your engine. You'll take your new seats, drop them in. They make a special tool for this, but guys, if you got it and it works, use it. So I take an extension, 13mm socket, and a soft flow hammer. You're just looking for a socket that sits right over the edge of your valve stem. So it catches it just like that to press it down. And tap it lightly. You'll feel and hear a difference in it when it seats. You hear that difference there, that dunk dunk, that's how you know it's in there. Don't beat the crap out of it, you'll tear up your valve seal. Leaky valve seals is no bueno. Smokes every time you crank it up, smokes when you're driving it. Just a little thing I do, this is a dual spring. So I always push down in the top of it so that the bottom's flush. It gives your seat where it sits flush, makes it a lot easier putting it in there. Your retainer, I'm sorry. So that one's flush. Flush. Set them in there. Get your compressor. Bolt her back in there. You want to try to get them centered up over the valve so when you're pushing it down you don't got to fight it a whole lot. When you're running them down using impact, it don't really matter. When you're coming off, you don't want to use an impact because the vibrations are going to knock your valve stem keepers back out. What I like to do, just take a little bit of wheel bearing grease and scoop it to the inside there. All it's doing is holding it on the valve stem so you don't have to try to hold it and mess with it while you're putting it together. And then it helps, that thing's going to twist and ride around, so if you got a flat blade screwdriver, you can kind of manipulate it a little bit. You're not prying the valve, you're just moving the top of this tool around. So I'll come in right there, give me the space to let this keeper drop back down in there. Now it's in. Same thing for the other side. A little bit of wheel bearing grease. That's in there. I'm going to have to run this one down to get the other one in there. So don't use the impact. You'll vibrate everything out. Run it on down. Keeper. A little bit of grease. Get it in there. Alright. Back it off by hand, guys. You hit it with the impact. I promise you, you will jar these things out of there and defeat the whole purpose of what you're trying to get done here. And like that one, it just slid down in there. Grab your magnet, get it back up there. That's what the grease is for. It's holding it in there. And that spring ain't exactly centered, so getting that keeper to stay is going to be fun. Light it off by hand. See, it's not in there. That spring's sitting sideways in there. Go back down, wiggle them around until you get it to fit. See if I can persuade that spring over some. This is supposed to be a quick 30-second deal. Here I am making it difficult. So we're just going to start that one over. Alright, so I didn't have that spring centered up just right over it. Pan in on this here. See how that valve is directly in the middle of that top retainer there? The spring was sitting over this way just a hair, so I couldn't get it to stay in there. So I let the pressure off, centered it back up, and go back down by hand. Since I've got this one in there, I don't want to jar them out. So use your ratchet. Get it down enough you can get your valve keepers back in there. Now I got everything good and slippery. A little bit of grease. She's in. Go down just a hair more. Now they're all in. Light her back up. Take the tool off. Wipe off the grease. And there you have it. Dual springs installed.